Poor Layla is motoring and we're sailing, so we're tacking. And every tack we seem to be crossing their path and they're having to slow down, give way. Must be a real bugger. Beautiful reds and the lovely white sand behind it. Just very pretty. Yeah, it is red. It's extremely red, and then there's a beautiful white. It's a nice contrast. There.
Perfect. I don't want to play. He's actually looking at it. He's turning to have an eyeball on us. Yeah. Hear him. Perfect. Hear it? Yeah. It's really wiggling, isn't it? Good now. Look at it. Oh, that's a barrel roll.
We've had a long motor today. We've just left Monkey Mere and headed to Denham. So we're stopping up here to refuel, ready for our further trip down south. More boats here than I expected.
Okay, this is Layla, over.
RB name Karen, just to let you know, we've anchored in 2.5 metres and just got to be careful to drop the anchor sandy patches, otherwise the fluke get full of seagrass.
Thank you. Is that 2.5 metres total water?
Total water, and doesn't get any shallower than this until tomorrow.
So we're at Denham, just refueled, and now got a little bit of food just to get us down to Geraldton, and now we're going to the bakery. It seems to just blow here. It's just windy, windy, windy. So we've just done a fuel run so we can get down. Just filled up with some drums of fuel into the tender, and then we're going to pound into it. Nah, not going to be great.
So we're weaving our way out of Denham across all these sandbars, across to Dirk Hartog Island. God, I find that hard to say. But we're just We're just cutting through all these little channel markers. You can see you can see it's quite shallow in the background there. So this channel is more pronounced. The last one we crossed was quite shallow, still only had 1.7 under keel. Good evening, it's almost 8 p.m. We were going to sit here at Sheltered Bay, exiting from Shark Bay, but we've decided that on our dash down to Geraldton that we might as well leave now and get a little bit slower passage and a little bit easier travel. So we've just up anchored, fired up the motors, and we're off. I've had to put the lights on because the camera will not work in the dark here. We don't have a FLIR camera. So we're off, and two-night passage, and we should arrive early in the morning. And you're in position, ready?
Yeah.
Got your spot for the night?
Yeah, I've got my spot.
It's a bit too dark, I can't actually get you. So our night lights are on, we'll go back to night lights once we get moving. But we're off and running. Morning, it's 6 a.m. We've been going for 10 hours now. We've made about 50 miles, so we've just been plodding along at 5 knots, which is the motoring speed, or Layla. We had a comfortable night, but we didn't push it too hard. So we've got about 120 to go. So we should arrive about this time tomorrow morning, which is pretty early. We can probably slow down a bit now, so looking forward to having a bit of a sleep. We've been up all night. And Sleepy, who's been asleep the entire night, had a pretty easy sail. A couple of metres swell just rolling through here, but certainly a lot nicer than the rubbish weather we've had for the last few weeks.
We're just starting our way down to Geraldton. Layla's got some bit of damaged rigging, so we're taking it easy. It's just a slow process. We're trying to sit on 4 knots so we get there early in the morning, not during the night, because otherwise you've got to sit out. And I just thought I had seen some dolphins, but they didn't want to play.
Sun's just set. We've been sailing and motoring all day. So we're going almost 24 hours now. And we should arrive in Geraldton at about 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, it's been a pretty easy day. Very sloppy at the start, but no, it's settled down now. The waves are a lot more consistent and getting a nice ride. Just first reef and jib on, just trying to keep the boat slow. We don't want to get there too early.
Morning, we're just coming into Geraldton. We've just completed our second night's passage. Last night was a lot better than the night before, but we're all in, we're all good. So we've just had to navigate around cray pots. There's a fish farm and a ship coming in. So it was a bit of an interesting morning. So if you're tired, you won't stay tired for long.
That looks very close. Cray pot, see.
There's another cray pot, there's a ship coming around, and as you can see just out the back behind the tender, there's cray pots.
I'm dodging ships, pots, they're everywhere.
Coming into the marina. Oh, so nice. Give the boat a wash, do some shopping, go out for dinner. Yes! Now the fun job of finding our berth. It's a nice rock wall here. Yeah, it looks new. You know where we're heading? Or? Yeah. It's mainly motorboats here, not too many sailboats.
It's just an art sculpture of someone's made it to represent the Batavia.
Okay, so it's nothing to do with it.
I think it's wood from the Batavia. That's pretty cool. That's accurate too. It's 12:45.
Tells the time. It's pretty cool.
That's actually, I didn't realise it would be that accurate.
Maybe that's why they don't.
Have daylight savings in Western Australia. It's a bastard to change the rock. Oh, the Stanford. She's a big museum. A must-see at the Geraldton Museum is the Batavia Exhibition. Almost 400 years ago, on the 4th of June 1629, the Batavia was shipwrecked at the Abrolhos Islands and had remained lost until 1963. An estimated 40 men drowned from the accident, but tragically an estimated 125 men, women, children and babies were brutally murdered by the ship's deputy Cornelius in Australia's first mass murder. This replica longboat would have had 48 survivors, including the ship's captain, and they sailed it to Batavia to organise the rescue for 99 days later. It's got caught and it's now jammed inside the furler. In episode 81, I went up Layla's mast to unwrap a halyard that had got caught around the forestay. What I didn't notice was the damage it had caused. The stainless wire had been unwound and wasn't really happy. It should have looked more like this. So the rig is here and we've just dropped the forestay off of Layla. Hold it there, Pete. And the forestay is just laying here on the dock, and I'll just get down the end and show you what's wrong with it. After several days of pounding into the waves, the weakened forestay had been breaking strands. Luckily, it held until Monkey Mia, where Pete had gone up the mast, finding the failure. After securing the mast with every available halyard, he motored all the way to Geraldton to get it repaired.
This is our view at Geraldton Marina. It's very horrible. We've had 40 knots of wind and it's been raining all day. Hopefully blue skies tomorrow. And as you can see, look at the water slapping up on the arm.
Well, with the weather totally crappy today, and waiting for the rigger to turn up for Layla, it's time to do some engine servicing. So when we were motoring along, we noticed we had a bit of steam on our port engine, which we weren't getting on the starboard, which was not natural, so it was time to have a look today. We've got the water pump off, and lo and behold, it's lost an impeller blade. So now we've got to trace it. We've taken the first pipe off that feeds from the water pump to the heat exchanger. It's not in there, so now I've got to get the heat exchanger off, which means I've got to take the alternator out the way. Bit of a circus, but we're getting there. Get that done and then we can start on the other side. You can see the missing blade, and the problem is that's now gone through the system. Here's the water hose I've taken off. It comes out of the water pump and goes to the heat exchanger. I've checked through that, blown through that, that's all clear. So now of course it means it's up in the heat exchanger, which I'll try and get this through to the alternator.
sits up through the back here. So to get to that, you've got to loosen the alternator, swing that out the way a bit, out the way that way because it pivots on the top, get through to the 3 bolts that hold up under here, and then take the cover of the heat exchanger off, and then I can find the piece of rubber. So next phase, let's try and find it in there. Okay, our alternator is now out of the way, and we're now into the heat exchanger cover. Here it is here, so we've got 3 bolts. I'll take them off, and I'm hoping there's a piece of rubber from the impeller sitting in there. Let's take this off, the last bolt. Put my hands back, the heat exchanger off, and now I'm concerned. A few barnacles will clean up, but there's no impeller blade. We spent the last hour removing alternator, pulling the heat exchanger off, going through all of the hose, and it goes to show you should always check the obvious first, because I just saw it, and so I'll get it out. So here's the water pump, and if I tap up through here, and look what's just popped out, there it went down the bottom. One missing impeller blade. Could have saved myself hours of time just to stick and check up in there. Won't do that again.
Turn right onto Blind Strait, then turn left onto Thomas Avenue.
We're the only ones here.
Well, that's a good thing.
I've taken them off with some boat. Oh, see, I couldn't even see there was a picture there. The German raider HSK Cormoran, and became involved in an engagement that would eventually lead to the loss of both ships.
And so there's 2 walls showing all the names. So it starts from that end and works all the way.
Yeah, it sunk and then chased another one in its attacks. On the 19th of November 1941, the Sydney II engaged in battle with the German cruiser Cormoran and was lost to the sea with all 645 lives on board. The Cormoran, also critically damaged, was scuttled, and of her 399 crew, 318 survived. The Sydney lay lost until she was finally found on the 16th of March 2008, almost 70 years after the sinking.
So the bird is pointing in the direction of where the ship is found, and the coordinates are listed on the bottom. Pretty cool. So this shows the coastline, and the black is the water, and it's pointing to the direction.
The impressive Dome of Souls was created with 645 stainless steel goals representing the spirits of the crewmen lost at sea. The entire memorial was beautifully and thoughtfully designed, and really requires a second visit to see it under lights at night.